I'm incredibly excited because this chart is showing me something absolutely huge. We've seen Bitcoin pumping towards all-time highs, but many people are worried because the altcoins have been quiet. But don't worry, things are about to change in an extremely big way. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly why that is and why you should be starting to get really pumped up about what's going to happen next. So hit that like button and let's get into today's video. Now guys, Bitcoin hit an all-time high yesterday, but why the F? Aren't the altcoins running? Well, don't worry. This is a completely normal thing in bull markets. And if you were involved in the last one or the one before that, then the exact same thing happened. And actually, while it might not feel like a good thing, it's an incredibly positive thing that Bitcoin's pumping right now before all the altcoins do as well, because it means we're going to have more bull market in front of us. So bearing in mind this is an election year, how much higher can Bitcoin go? Well, crypto bull markets coincide with election years in the US, and that's simply because the liquidity cycle is a 4-year cycle where we get quantitative easing and quantitative tightening. I talked about this more in detail on yesterday's video if you wish to learn more, or you could go and use Google or ChatGPT. But typically in Q4 of the election year, we start to see more money printing across the world, and this leads to better environments for investing, and that's why crypto is ultimately going up. Now, the good news, this will continue into next year and continue to drive this bull market forward. So forget about all the news about why crypto is going higher and everything like that. Simply, crypto is going higher because the environment for investing is better than it was 6 months ago or a year ago. So looking back 4 years ago to the last election back in 2020, you can see a very strong finish to the year. December up 46% in Bitcoin prices. And again, we're following suit now in 2024, October pumping, November pumping, December already on a run. So why on earth aren't the altcoins running? Well, because there's a path to altcoin season. Bitcoin typically pumps more aggressively first until more and more money enters into the market, more confidence is there, and then the altcoins will start to run aggressively. And while we have seen a lot of altcoins looking pretty strongly, there is one altcoin in particular that has been underperforming pretty aggressively. And that is none other than the second biggest market cap coin, Ethereum. And don't worry, okay, I'm not going to focus onto Ethereum, but this holds the key to the rest of the altcoins and what is going to happen next, because Ethereum hasn't even got up to all-time highs yet. While we feel like we've been through most of this bull market already, Ethereum's still lagging behind. Yes, it's broken and retested this resistance area, and it is starting to look stronger, but there's one chart, and one chart alone, that gives us the keys to what is going to happen next. And that, my friends, is the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart. Now, lots of people will be out there going, well, Ethereum's just been replaced by Solana because it's incredibly slow and all this other stuff, right? Try to put all that BS out your mind. Crypto is basically different vehicles for trading to make money, okay? Some have really good tech, some have less good tech, some have multi-billion-dollar market cap, some are worth nothing, okay? If a coin with a dog on it can reach like an $80 billion market cap, then anything is possible in this bull market, and typically these are just instruments for trading rather than getting too hung up on why that's pumping and why this is pumping. Ethereum is the second biggest coin in the entire crypto bull market. The volume on Ethereum is insane. The amount of TVL, or total value locked, in Ethereum is also huge. It's monstrous compared to pretty much all other coins out there. And yet Ethereum has been underperforming because we're waiting to enter into that more confidence period of the market. Therefore, if we can understand that the Ethereum Bitcoin chart is showing us a pattern that indicates that Ethereum is about to rally really aggressively against Bitcoin, then we're onto something. Now, this is a very simple chart, hopefully. While it might look a little bit complicated, it is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. It shows an Ethereum as a percentage of the Bitcoin price. So you can see it's worth 3.7% of a Bitcoin right now. But we're seeing an incredibly important repeat pattern that we saw a couple of bull markets ago. Not the last one, the one before that. You can see we had, in the early stages of Ethereum life, we had this kind of rounded base. We pumped up. We had this good, solid retrace into a zone where we suddenly started to build a bit of strength. And then suddenly we had a crazy breakout. Now, this originated on Boxing Day 2016, and it then broke out in February 2017 into a major altcoin bull market. And in December 2016, Ethereum was worth $9, okay? And then it went sideways till about February, and then it kind of went up a little bit until about February. It went up about 30 or 40%, kind of like it's doing right this second, wouldn't you say? Then from there, all of a sudden, Ethereum then bounces and goes up 45x up until June. Okay, so in the space of 6 months, Ethereum goes from being worth $9 all the way to being worth $416. And it's this period of time that we are focusing on right now because it's pretty much aligned with the current market. While the prices are much higher, we still see that link between Ethereum versus Bitcoin being incredibly important. And look, between those two dates where Ethereum suddenly started to pump about 30%, we started to see it happen on the 26th of December. It crept a little bit higher, and then eventually it had this wild breakout like this. Now, we can see that we have an identical pattern that has played out over a little bit longer this time and is much bigger. Okay, so we can see after that big sell-off into the 2018 bear market, we then went through this consolidation period into the next bull market. The bull market before this one, we can see Ethereum rallied against Bitcoin. Now we can see this starting to move towards the downside. Now what we can see is Ethereum versus Bitcoin has pulled back into this area. It's found support. It's pulled away from this line here. Typically, when we start to pull away from this line, we move to an oversold level, and then we're starting to bounce aggressively here. We've seen it in the last couple of weeks. And once Ethereum reaches this point, we're going to start to see strength coming into the altcoins. But what the key point to look out for is when Ethereum actually breaks this line against Bitcoin, because this is going to indicate when Bitcoin's going to top, and this is going to send the entire altcoin market into an absolute frenzy mode. So while right now you're holding altcoins, and some of them have pulled back like 10%, 20% in the last few days, and you're panicking a little bit, when it comes to altcoins, we're still pretty early. And yes, there are a lot of altcoins that have been rallying really hard and probably don't have that many X's left in them, but you can still find winners almost all the time. And if you're subscribed to the House of Crypto, you've probably been catching these winners. We talked about MEXC just a couple of weeks ago. It pumped around 190%. Currently it's sat up 139%, while crypto has been fairly quiet. Just last week I talked about Lingo before it launched. It's now up 124% from Friday. But the most insane one, My Lovely Planet, MLC, is up over 6x in just the last 2 weeks. And if you're subscribed to the House of Crypto, we're going to continue to find a lot more of them, because right now we are still very early. Because right now, while lots of people are kind of concerned about whether it's like too late or whatever, yes, a lot of altcoins have seen some significant shifts, and maybe you're not going to see the kind of returns that you're expecting to see in the likes of XRP and HBAR and Cardano and Solana and other big cap coins that have been moving already quite a lot. But there is still huge money to be made if you can start to learn and find out more about what's really going on in these markets. And if you're subscribed to the House of Crypto, I will teach you how to do that as we go over the next few weeks. We're going to find coins ourselves. So what is the strategy? What am I doing personally right now? Well, guys, I'm pretty much fully invested, and I'm invested knowing all of these things. And if you know these things too, then you can also be comfortable in investing. One, that I'm using money that I can afford to lose. But I would be very sad if I lost it, okay? But keep that in mind. Don't use money you can't afford to lose. Two, I know that crypto is heavily manipulated by people with far more money and influence than even me, okay? People like BlackRock. The world's largest asset manager has around 2% of the Bitcoin supply. Are they doing shady stuff behind closed doors? Absolutely, okay? Michael Saylor telling you all the time to be buying Bitcoin. Is he doing shady stuff? I don't want to call him out, but probably at that level, there's got to be some stuff going on, right? Maybe? Let me know down below what you think Michael Saylor's up to. If he's just this nice guy trying to make you money in Bitcoin. They all seem to have agendas, right? So I don't know whether tomorrow Bitcoin doesn't dump 20%. If it does that, all my altcoins will get absolutely decimated towards the downside. I'm talking dips of 20, 30%. I only hold altcoins if I'm prepared to take a 30% dip, because guess what? If you go and sell that 30% dip, the next day after that, you're likely to see a pump against you. Things are going to get painful. So what do? I try and buy into coins of good value right now. Every time we see dips, I try to buy into those dips rather than selling them like a noob. I'm sorry if that's you, but that's basically the way to lose money. Selling the dips and buying the tops is literally the wrong way around. And that to me is where I should be right now. So I'm holding coins. If I see any dips and I've got any money left over, then I'll try and buy into the dip. But ultimately, it's a waiting game. Just be patient. If you're holding coins today that don't seem to be pumping like someone else's coins, well, don't worry. The coins you're holding are likely to pump tomorrow, and those other coins are likely to take a dip towards the downside. Now, another chart to pay attention to is the Bitcoin dominance. We saw Bitcoin dominance pumping into early January in 2021, and then after that we saw it sell off quite quickly and then just kind of go sideways for a bit. This was the initial altcoin excitement before kind of like everything cooled down again, like we always do. And there's a reason that everything has a cool down like we've just seen, and it's all linked to funding rates, which is really boring, okay? But simply it's this: Many people are buying cryptos on spot trading. Let's say I buy $100 worth of Bitcoin and I exchange that money directly into Bitcoin. However, there's a few greedy fish out there who like to go and try and make more money. So what do? They take that $100 and instead of just being happy to buy $100 worth of Bitcoin, they go and try and 10x that, and they use leverage, which means they then have $1,000 of buying power. This is great if Bitcoin goes up, because it means if Bitcoin goes up 10%, they double their $100 investment by making $100 back. And people continue to get greedier and greedier, investing and starting to go after bigger and bigger wins by going and using leverage. The more leverage, however, that stacks up, the bigger the divide between the amount of people holding or the spot value versus the actual leveraged value. And if this rate gets way too high, eventually it creates very unstable markets and we see collapses, which is why the other day we saw the biggest liquidation in crypto history, because many of you, let's be honest, were using bigger leverage than you probably should have been doing on a lot of different altcoins out there, and you found out the hard way that you can't really be doing that when everyone is pumped into the markets. So right now, while it feels like everyone's being pretty greedy in crypto, they're actually not, because most of them got liquidated the other day. You can see that here on coinglass.com, where the funding rate are pretty low across all coins. This was a liquidation event the other day. You can see many of these were up into the 90%. Okay, XRP, people 92% in terms of funding rates. Absolutely crazy numbers. Was this HBAR? Again, a lot of the coins that were performing strongly, many people were over leveraged in them. Guess what happens? They all got burned. Now we're back to a more comfortable position again. So pay attention to this chart. If you ever see lots of yellow coming onto here, then it's time to maybe start to close out your leverage positions. You can keep it on spot, but be cautious because pullbacks typically come when lots of people are in the markets like this. Okay, so right now it's green. Things are healthy. Things can continue to push on. Now, guys, I think one key narrative to pay attention to right now is gaming. And tomorrow I'm going to be releasing a video about gaming, why it's such a hot narrative, and 5 key gaming projects that I'm personally invested in and looking to load up more on before this bull market really kicks off. So make sure you're subscribed, notification bell turned on so that you don't miss that, because if you're getting in early to those videos, maybe, just maybe, you're going to catch a My Lovely Planet before it goes and does a 5x or a Metacade or one of the others. Now, guys, right now, I know a lot of you are new to crypto and you have many questions, but unfortunately, there's no one there to answer them. So I recommend you join the inner circle, which is linked down below in the description. And for just $20 a month, you can go and talk to various different crypto enthusiasts around the world. I also am running an exclusive Zoom call tomorrow morning for my Moonhouse group and the inner circle. Therefore, if you want to access that Zoom call, where I'm going to spend an hour talking about my own research into new coins and different coins that I think are going to see some significant upside over the next few months, coins that I'm looking to get into on launch, then make sure you get yourself into the inner circle before it is too late. Also, in the inner circle, I share various different trading signals. This was one from a few weeks ago on Render, where we won a 6-to-1 risk to reward trade. Various others like Beam, Hit, Take Profit, and others we've been trading. So if you want to get access to trading signals, chat with enthusiasts around the world, get onto my live Zoom call tomorrow morning, then make sure you sign up for the inner circle down below in the description. Just $20 per month. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video and found it useful. Do me a favor, hit that like button if you made it this far through. And if you're new to the channel and you didn't do it the first 2 times I asked, subscribe. See you tomorrow in another one. Bye-bye.